What is going on, my peeps? Your boy Versatile is back with another video, back talking to you guys about the Tab S4 versus the Tab S6. Yes, a much anticipated comparison. Why? Simply because these two have been reigning king in the Android tablet market, and arguably the Tab S6 really gives the iPad Pro a run for their money. So, and not to say that the Tab S4 didn't the year prior, but we're going to get into why the Tab S6 is more superior than the Tab S4, despite being able to recommend both of these with no issues. And the first thing that we're going to compare is price. We're going to get that easy out the way. This may see some holiday sales, maybe $100 off, or you get a steep discount on like maybe the keyboard or something like that, which I have not yet gotten. But this tablet runs for about $650, and the LTE model runs for about $720, $725. I got mine from T-Mobile. That's what it ran me. And here you can get this for $500. You can probably even get this for $450. With the keyboard, you're probably seeing $550 or so. In the description box below, I will have the details to each. I'll have links to each device that I found on Amazon anyway, if I was able to find some deals, because Black Friday is right around the corner if it hasn't already passed by the time I uploaded this video. So price aside, there's about $150 to $200 difference between the two devices, and you're gonna get your good money's worth out of either one. Why? Well, let's start off with performance. And what did they change? Well, the S Pen on the Tab S4, as you see, does not stick to the tablet, does not have charge because it does not connect Bluetooth. But it's a nice S Pen nonetheless. If it comes in focus here, you guys can see Samsung right there. You got the button. Looks very stylish. I actually just ordered some new S Pen tips because my wife uses the Tab S4 now. So I ordered some new S Pen tips. They literally hit the door right before I did this video. So the S Pen on the Tab S4 still works very clean. You can write on it. You don't really notice. You don't really notice too much of a, I guess you could say, lag between input and your activity. So in terms of S Pen, it's fine. It works very well on the Tab S4. Now, what did they change with the Tab S6? Well, as you guys can see here, if I peel it off, it's magnetically attachable and it charges, because now the S Pen does connect via Bluetooth. And why is that? Because they gave this so much more functionality. The S Pen, by means of the pen, you can use it remotely. You can use it if you use slideshows and stuff. You can use the S Pen, if you click the button and wave back and forth or up and down, it can control your slideshows. It can control your music playback or video playback. I've tried it in YouTube. I've tried it in Disney Plus. Did I try it in Disney Plus? I tried it in Netflix. It does work. A volume up, volume down definitely works. You just press it to play, press it to pause, being able to skip forward, skip back. And in your watch later on YouTube, it definitely works. It'll skip to the next video in your watch later. But if you're just watching a regular video, if you try to skip backwards or forwards, it will skip to the next video that's like on the recommended side of the list. So you got that kind of functionality, and Samsung also included the ability to unlock your tablet with your S Pen. So in the S Pen settings, you'll find like an unlock feature, and if you press it, it'll wake up the tablet, and as long as it recognizes your face, or it'll automatically unlock and jump right into the tablet. So I use that feature quite often. So definitely very valuable the S Pen has become. You can control it with the camera if you use the cameras on here, much like the Note 10 and Note 10 Plus series. How you can control being able to switch what camera you're using, whether it's the back or front. It's just a great tablet. I mean, a great S Pen. It's Samsung finally actually dove into the S Pen. So thank you for that. But there's one downside to the S Pen being Bluetooth attached to the tablet, and that is battery life. Not for the S Pen per se. This lasts all day, no problem, and it charges back within like 5 to 10 minutes, 100%. The problem is with the tablet, but it's a good and bad problem. And that jumps us into the next feature of the tablets, is battery life. Both, I'm gonna put the S Pens to the side. The Tab S4 runs at a 7300 milliamp battery, and I can tell you it lasts all day. It's beautiful. This thing lasts. I literally can watch videos or stream music for at least 10 hours Probably could get away with 12 to 13 hours before it finally dies, and that's just like straight playback. So if you're not doing that kind of activity and you kind of using it as more of like a regular workflow, emails, web browsing, doing some scribbling with the S Pen. Mind you, both S Pens work on either tablet. You know, just regular stuff. You're going to get all day out of this, and standby time's pretty well. I've gone as much as like at least 2 days with, you know, I guess you say semi-normal use. I can get at least 2 days before having to put this on the charger, and that's the Tab S4. Now, the Tab S3, you get better battery life out of, and it's got a smaller battery. This has a 7040 milliamp battery, and as you can tell, looks clean, looks different. We'll get to that here soon. It's got a 7040, but again, after using it, it runs better. It runs more smooth. The battery life, you get tremendous good battery life out of it. I get at least 13 to 15 hours worth of playback out of this, despite having a smaller battery. Well, why is that? Well, that is because of the processor. So for some reason, Samsung, when they dropped the Tab S4, did not drop the 845 at the time. They dropped the 835. So for some reason, they used the previous year's processor in last year's tablet, and surprisingly, which shouldn't be too much of a surprise anymore with these more recent processors, the 835 still runs very, very well. I could still edit on it. I could still get a lot of stuff done. The only time I saw like any type of lag was like using the gestures. So that's the one area where I think the 845 probably would have helped, or just tuning of the gestures. I've had no issues with the gestures on the Tab S6, and it could be because of tuning, but this also has the 855, this year's processor in it. So when you factor in processors, you're gonna get buttery smooth performance out of this. You still get smooth performance out of this. Don't get me wrong. If you use the buttons, you're not gonna have no issues for sure. My wife uses the buttons. She only uses the gesture system right now, and flawless. It really runs very well, and kudos to Samsung because they've done a very good job at fine-tuning Samsung One UI. Samsung TouchWiz is a forgotten software experience because One UI has pleasantly changed our minds on how we view Samsung products, and Samsung One 2.0 is going to be that much better. Now, before we get in, now what I was saying about battery life, before we change the subject. The S Pen, as long as it's attached to the tablet, will charge itself. You know, of course, it can be trickle charged once it's at 100%, but it continuously trickles off the battery that's within the Tab S6. So, just with the last few days, I had this charger at 100%, took it off the charger, waited. I didn't use the tablet the whole day. Then the next day, I ended up using the tablet, and it had 28% left, and I hadn't really used the tablet like that. So I was like, how do I have 28%? This fella right here has been seeping the battery away. So no doubt you'll probably get comparable battery life to the Tab S4 if you detach the S Pen from the back of the tablet for it to charge. If you do that, you'll be good. If you leave it on, just know you probably have to charge the tablet within 2 days. So that being said, it's not that big of a deal, but if you're always putting yourself on the charger, then you're probably not going to really notice too much of a difference in the first place. So I probably wouldn't even worry about that. All right. I got to make an adjustment here. All right. So what's next? Well, what houses the few new adjustments that we've seen aside from the cameras? Cameras, you get two cameras here, of course, 13 megapixel and a 5 megapixel. I believe, and an 8 megapixel on the front. Here you just get the one 13 megapixel. And excuse me, you know, again, correct me if I'm wrong, it's either 12 or 13 megapixel for the main shooter. But who really takes pictures like that often on the tablet? If anything, the most important camera is probably the front, because you probably use it for video conferences and stuff like that. So, or Skype, or, you know, talk to family. So, and you know, that's about it for the cameras. But what houses all of this? As we can see, there's a big difference. And plus and minuses to both, I guess. The Tab S4 slabbed in glass on glass, but you're gonna get fingerprints. It looks very luxurious, looks very expensive, premium, but it's an annoyance to clean, especially when you keep it in a case. Now you could probably slap a skin on it and you'd be good. There are companies that do skins for the Tab S4. And then of course on the front you get a 10.5-inch display, We know Samsung kills displays, so it's like, you know, ain't too much else to say there. They both share similar displays. I've noticed a slight color difference because this has an adaptive display mode along with like vivid and natural. This just has natural and vivid, and I could tell that the colors are slightly toned down on this model. It's not like bothersome or like, oh my god, where'd the color go? But you could tell there's a slight difference. The other difference between these two is, if I could show you here real quick before I turn them back over. If you can see here, you can see that the Tab S6 is slightly smaller than the Tab S4, and the bezel is slightly thinner. So they shrunk it down by mere millimeters, and they thinned it by near millimeters. So, or mere millimeters, I should say. What a tongue twister. So it's more compact, it's smaller, as you can tell, it's thinner. You know, you can tell it's thin. It reminds you of the iPad with the antenna bands on the outside, and the Tab S6 is made out of metal. So you get glass and metal here, where you really don't get fingerprints like that anymore. Still get your AKG logo here at the bottom. I don't know why they put this Energy Star here at the bottom. I still haven't peeled it off yet, but it's been in the case. That's probably why. But a tremendous tablet experience this is with you know, the change in materials. It's a pleasant, welcome change. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But either way, you're gonna really want to put these in cases. I don't put screen protectors on my tablets because they're protected by the case that I use. Now the keyboards are also different. Like I said, I don't have the keyboard for the Tab S6 yet. This is why I need to turn them over so y'all don't get confused here. I don't have the keyboard yet for the Tab S6, but I do have it for the Tab S4. I love it. Slightly compact in terms of typing, but you get used to it. The typing is probably somewhat similar with the Tab S6, but they included a trackpad, and the design of the keyboard is different. And that's one of the things I don't know if I'll completely get used to, but I think I will. You know, I'm always hopeful. The keyboard seems like it's separate from the rest of the keyboard case that you get. And of course you get a flap on the back to be able to put your S Pen in. And then, you know, you can of course dock it. It's got like a little wing flap that you kick out so it can sit up, you know, like this. So and it looks nice. It does look nice. It makes it look like a laptop. It's very Surface Pro-ish. Samsung upped their notch with their Microsoft integration, and that's why the S Pen works so well with the Microsoft products. And it does look very Surface Pro-ish when you attach a new keyboard with the Tab S6. The Tab S4's keyboard looks nice, fits the tablet very well, no problems there. So aside from that, what else is different? Well, there are some differences in software in terms of the Tab S6 versus the, and you guys see I use the iris scanner still. I've used the fingerprint sensor, which is on the Tab S6, not on the Tab S4. And I've only had to use it a couple of times. I really like the face unlock, but this is one of the features I'm gonna show you guys. So like I said, you can use the S Pen to unlock. So if I press it, it's gonna see me bow and it's in. So I didn't even have to press none other than the S Pen. But one of the features I really like, and I'm gonna go more in depth with the Tab S6 features in a separate video, just showing you guys one of the small differences with the Tab S6. You have the side panel now. You have the side panel now you can swipe over from. Some people will say, oh, that's very kind of, you know, Apple has something similar. And I appreciate them actually including this, because even though I don't have all my ideal apps I would like to have in here just because they're already on my home screen, it's nice to have this panel over and to be able to get to apps if I'm in another app or something like that, and I don't have no problems there. So I like that Samsung has thought more into their tablet experience with the Tab S6. Now, the internal options that you get with the Tab S6 and the Tab S4 are close, but no cigar. So the Tab S4 you could get in a 4 gigabyte and I believe a 6 gigabyte, 64 or 128 gigs, or 64 gig and 256. I think that's actually the one for the Tab S4. The Tab S6 is 6 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage, or 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage. Now the problem I have with that is they don't make both SKUs available to the carriers. You only get the 6 gig 128 gigabyte model, at least at T-Mobile, and I would imagine that goes for AT&T and Verizon. I need that 8 gig 256, okay? Now, one of the things I have noticed with performance, probably because of the chip as well and the improved Adreno GPU, is editing does go by faster. It does load my video a little more. I have been doing a little more 4K editing. I haven't had too many issues. It does render the video faster. I use Power Director. So the Tab S6 is a very good replaceable power horse from the Tab S4 for me. And that was one of the main reasons I really got it, was because I needed that extra RAM. The storage, of course, comes in handy. And it has not proven me wrong. So I thank you, Samsung, for that. One of the other things I've noticed in here that I didn't mention is, you guys see the logo is now from towards the top to smack dab in the middle. It's kind of funny, again, not trying to reference too much from Apple, but we did see Apple change the Apple logo from somewhere in this range to more center line, just all the way clean on the back. And I think Samsung may adopt something like that similar down the line. Now, as I mentioned, they're tuned by AKG. You get 4 speakers. So if I lift this one up, you guys see there's 2 right there. Boom, bow. And then you get 2 on the other side as well. Boom, bow. Tab S4. Same exact thing. So in terms of hardware, they did necessary improvements. What I would like to see, well, side note, the S Pen can attach to like the side just because it is metal, so it can attach to the side as well. So you don't have to attach it to, you know, charge it. It does attach to the top, kind of similar to the Apple Pencil, just it doesn't stand in the way like the Apple Pencil, from what I've heard. But one of the things I'd like to see, I don't know. I'm not too picky with my tablets. More RAM's always nice. A better graphics card if they could put in here, or graphics GPU or something that will help with graphics editing or something like that. Because a lot of people like using tablets now. I've heard a lot of people like using these more than laptops, or they're just easier to function with than laptops once you've given them a shot. So I don't know. It's hard to say. I'm glad they went with metal. I'm done with this glass. Or go matte glass or something next time, but I'm glad. What can they add? 90 hertz, of course. Why have we not seen 90 or 120 hertz on a display? I don't understand that. So something that I like to see maybe next year, since it was all the craze for smartphones this year with 90 hertz, is seeing 90 hertz or 120 hertz on tablets. And I can see Samsung stepping that up, especially if the rumors are true that the S11 is prompting for 120 hertz. That means Samsung is ready to drop those kind of displays. And what better place to showcase that than with their tablets? Nice big screens that could utilize such real estate for performance, for ease of use, for gaming. You know what I mean? Just, we could use that. So that's something I definitely like to see. Maybe a little better integration with Google Apps. You know, I hate that I have to wait for Android 10 to get dark mode for like Gmail and the Google app, of course. They're both on Android Pie. I'm sure this is going to get updated to Android 10 before the S4 does. And that's about all I can say about that. I haven't quite received enough. We got the September 1st security patch as of this video. The November 1st security patch is out in Korea. Has not made its way to the US yet. And again, it's the LTE model. So I might have to wait until like towards the end of December. I really hope not, but that's very possible with the Tab S6. This likewise has a September 2019 software security patch. And the way Samsung runs their rollouts for their software rollouts, software updates, I should say, for their tablets is tricky, because it's like every 3 months or so you might see an update, which kind of hurts. And then when they do drop, sometimes it feels like they're behind on the software security patch that they drop 3 months later. It's like a month behind. So I would like to see Samsung improve their tablet support for software updates. And then, of course, anytime you think of Samsung, just continue to improve, speeding up your big yearly firmware updates like the Android software version. So just some simple stuff like that. I don't really have any issues with the displays and nothing like that. It runs well. I edit in Lightroom for my photos and stuff like that. It's been a real joy to use either device. They help. Both are able to take off-screen notes. So again, demonstrating on the Tab S6, if I was to, you know, tap the screen, I go boom and then tap, it should pop up. Okay, that didn't work. So maybe the unlock feature is inhibiting that, but let's go tap and then tap. There we go. So you got to click it first and then tap. And as you guys can see, I can write on the screen. And you guys can see on video, not too much lag. So You know, then I hit back, I can discard that, I don't need it, and then shut it back down. And then if I think, or I know, oh, that's the other thing I didn't show you. So when I also look in here, you guys can see up here, there, that's your S Pen battery life that you get on the Tab S6 now as well. So pretty dope. That's pretty nice that they let you know right up at top. And I do have good lock on here, which is why my clock is centered, but they let you know how much battery life, and it drops down from top to bottom. And then, you know, if you think you out of battery, place it on the back. Sometimes it's hard to find. Having the case makes it so much easier. Oh my goodness, don't fail me now. There we go. And it lets you know right there, boom, how much you have left on your S Pen. And then you can, of course, close it down or take it off, and you're good to go. So that's been the comparison for the Tab S6 versus Tab S4. If you can get a good deal on the Tab S6, by all means, get the Tab S6, because we're running into next year. I don't know how much more the 835 can take, and I think that was one mistake that Samsung made with the Tab S4, is they should have put the 845 in here to at least give it another year or two, because the 835 is just old now. And even though it's good, it's a good processor, how much they inked out for the tablet and then for years after that, when software continues to get sophisticated, I don't know if the 835 will do that great. So that's one of the other reasons I would prefer you or refer you to the Tab S6, is because it's got the 855, so you can at least get 3 years out of this, no problems. I got 2.5 years out of my Tab S2 back when I bought it, and even then it was old then, and I got like 2.5 years out of that before I sold that, and it ran pretty well for what I was doing with editing and stuff. But I did offload editing to my phone because it did start bogging down the tablet. So if you do any of that kind of work, definitely get the Tab S6. If you want just an enjoyable, clean experience, and if you like using gestures, the Tab S6 again will prove to be better. Battery life, it is better on the Tab S6. But with all that being said, the Tab S4 is still a great tablet. Like, it's, I don't want to say it's hard still to recommend, but it's just those little things. And then of course with the S Pen, you know, integration and capability now, that's why the Tab S6 likewise kind of usurps the Tab S4. And so, but of course you can probably save money in the Tab S4, get it. It's a great tablet. They're both great tablets. Samsung makes great hardware, and they have been showing they can make even good software. So tablets, hands down, very good. In terms of this video, sorry for it being so long. It is more on the longer side, but when you're discussing tablets, it's more than just, you know, sometimes features, or, you know, it's just more to cover, you know. So hopefully you guys were able to stick around this long for the video. I try to keep it as short as possible, and I think 25 minutes or so is the best I can do. So hopefully you guys appreciate and enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys think about either tablet. Have you tried either tablet? Have you had a Samsung tablet? Do you plan on getting either or both? Let me know down in the comments below. I'm ready to discuss. But that's it for this video. Your boy Versatile is signing out. And until the next video, wait for